And China's foreign minister has reiterated that anything to do with Hong Kong is an internal matter. He's warning other countries against meddling in its affairs. Wang Yi is still holding a media briefing in Beijing.
Since the turbulence over proposed legislative amendments last June, we have seen increasingly rampant activities by Hong Kong independence organizations and radical localists in Hong Kong, escalating violence and terrorist activities, as well as excessive, unlawful foreign meddling in Hong Kong affairs. All this has placed national security in serious jeopardy and posed a grave threat to Hong Kong's prosperity and stability and the practice of one country, two systems.
Well, for more on this, let's bring in Katrina Yu in Beijing. Katrina, sounds like Beijing is not in the mood to take any kind of conciliatory approach on Hong Kong.
That's right. At the press conference today, Wang Yi is not budging one bit. In fact, he almost expressed some surprise that people around the world, and certainly in Hong Kong, were making such a big deal of this. He was actually saying that the Hong Kong government and all relevant parties have voiced support for this national security law. He also said that Hong Kong is a part of China, and it is the responsibility of the central government to enact security laws for the whole country. And this is a wide practice around the world, and this is really just Beijing doing its job. He also said he singled out these protesters not as the masses, not as the majority of people in Hong Kong, but he called them radical loyalists, escalating violence and even terrorist activities. So very much sidelining them as extremists. And he said that this law would be good for Hong Kong's stability, and people should stop worrying and basically start looking to the positivity of Hong Kong's future, that this would not have any negative impact, he said, but it would be a good thing for Hong Kong's stability and its position as an international financial centre. But as we heard from Adrian earlier, he's going to have quite a hard time convincing the people in Hong Kong of that.
Now, he also made some comments indicating Beijing perhaps concerned about tension with the US at these fragile economic times, right?
That's right. He had a number of questions about the China-US relationship, and not surprising, this bilateral relationship has been on the rocks for months, and some people have said that it's in the phase of a new Cold War, and he seems to have agreed. He was saying that China and US are, as the biggest developed country and the biggest developing country, have more to gain from working together than competing with each other. He also said that China does not want to change or replace the US, and the US should stop trying to change China's system, and basically the two should recognize that they both have different political systems and respect each other. He also said that many in the US are wanting to smear China, and he spoke specifically of a political virus that is circulating in the US, and he said that US leaders would do better to use their precious time to save lives affected by the coronavirus rather than placing the blame on China's doorstep. Let's have a listen to what more he had to say about that.
It's most regrettable that while the coronavirus is still out there, a political virus is also spreading in the US and jumping at any opportunity to attack and slander China. Some politicians ignore the basic facts and make up countless lies and conspiracy theories concerning China. I call on the US side to stop wasting precious time and stop costing people's lives. It has come to our attention that some political forces in the US are taking China-US relations hostage and pushing our two countries to the brink of a new Cold War.
There's also a growing drumbeat internationally of criticism targeting China because of this pandemic. Of course, many countries and many leaders are raising questions as to the origin of this and questioning whether China is indeed being transparent about the origin of COVID-19. He also answered questions about this, specifically about US politicians filing lawsuits against China, sometimes whole states against China because of this pandemic. Now, Wang Yi had some very strong words to say about this. He said that this was ludicrous. He also said that these movements or these lawsuits have no basis in international law. And he continued to echo some of the words that President Xi Jinping mentioned earlier when he, last week during the World Health Organization summit, saying that China has continued to act responsibly, continue to be transparent. And the difference between the U.S., some U.S. politicians and China, he said, was the difference in some sense between facts and lies. So also Wang Yi not budging when it comes to answering questions, trying to call China to account because of the coronavirus.
Indeed. All right. Let's thank Katrina Yu there for updating us on the situation from Beijing.